Now, if I go to the next one, for the MIG, if I want to use gas, again, I want to make sure that I pay attention to where the ground is, and that is negative. So right now the ground clamp is plugged into the negative, but when I use the MIG attachment, I have to use this little whip, and I actually have to plug the whip into the positive. And then I go to the back and I have to connect my gas inlet to a bottle like this, which should be C25, 25% carbon dioxide and 75% argon. It is possible to use 100% argon with a MIG, but not very well, because the thermal conductivity of argon is not nearly as good as the C25. So it's definitely recommended to have the gas that has the 25% CO2 in it. Once I have plugged in the wires the correct way, I can go to the control panel and use the selection button to switch over from arc to MIG. Now with MIG, there's two options that I have. I can either go flux core or solid wire. So because right now the ground is on the negative, which means we're talking about the gas MIG, I have to switch the panel over to solid core wire, and now all that's left is to adjust the amperage or the voltage depending on how you want it. You can see there's a little LED that lights up the A, and there's a little dark one that says V. So if you take this button, push it in, it switches from amperage to voltage and back, amperage, voltage. So if I want to adjust the voltage, that's where I do it. If I want to switch the amperage, that's where I can do that, and the voltage automatically adjusts. The third option here is using the flux core wire, and that's what I have in my machine right now. So if I look under here, this wire is flux core wire, and I do not have it hooked up to any sort of gas, which obviously I won't need for the flux core wire. Now if I want to use that option, I look at my chart, and the flux core wire says ground positive. So the ground clamp has to be plugged into the positive. So I'll disconnect the whip and plug in the ground to positive, and then I'm going to take this little whip and plug it into the negative, and on my selection panel I switch over from solid core to flux core wire, and I'm ready to go. Again, adjusting the amperage here, and if I want to switch over to voltage, I push this button and now I can adjust the voltage, and I am good to weld with my flux core wire.